Good morning, everyone. My name is Melody Rose Adrian, and I am an entrepreneur as aspiring actor. Um, and I am here to welcome you all to the DV Connector Network Masterclass, both in person and online. We ask that everyone please put your phones on vibrate, and if you are watching on Zoom, please mute yourself so that we can all learn something valuable today. We'd ask allow we also like to ask if you can please sign up for the email list that is going around. Thank you. Without any further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. David.
Yes.
I used to be young. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, everyone here in person, everyone online. We're here to celebrate the life and achievements of living legend Richard Wesley.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Some of you of a certain age, including myself, will remember two groundbreaking films from the 70s. Uptown Saturday Night, featuring Sidney Poitier, Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor, and a host of others. And Let's Do It Again. This is the work of filmmaker Richard Wesley, whom we are privileged to have with us today. We're going to learn a lot more about his life and career as the day progresses, but at this time, I want to tell you a little bit about Divine Vision Connector Network Masterclass. For any new persons that have never attended a DV Connector Network event, the DV stands for Divine Visions. Our coming together to uplift, celebrate, and honor one another is intentional. The network grew out of and was launched in response to Don Vipre's retirement celebration back in 2018. The group was originally comprised primarily of people that Don had mentored or influenced over the years, and the network has grown to where we are today. Again, we thank you for coming out to support us. I would like to acknowledge Don Vipre and Caitlin, the founders of the DV Connector Network. We'd like to thank Hiller College and especially Trina Stokes for their hospitality. I'd like to thank Lakeisha and Corey Wilson, sponsors of the Masterclass. I'd like to thank our young youth ambassador, Melody, for such a wonderful time. Our online moderator is Doreen Bethia. And I'd like to also thank Andrew Frazier and the Small Business Pro University for being our technical sponsors and Zoom hosts. At this time, we would like to invite Councilman Kelly's office, Hector Perez, and Monaco Cruz to have a presentation they would like to make.
Morning, everyone. My name is Hector Perez. I am one of the aides to Councilman Kelly of the West Ward. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to come to the event because he had prior events, but he did ask me to come on his behalf to present the commendation for Mr. Richard Wesley. So, on behalf of the City of Newark and the Newark Municipal Council, they hereby issue this resolution commending Richard Wesley for his outstanding contributions to the arts and to the cultural legacy of Newark. Whereas Richard Wesley, a proud son of Newark, New Jersey, and graduate of Howard University, has had a profound impact on American theater, film, and television as a playwright, screenwriter, and educator. And whereas Mr. Wesley's career spans over 5 decades, including award-winning stage plays such as The Black Terror, The Mighty Gents, The Talented Ten, and Autumn, the latter of which received 6 Adelco Awards. And whereas he has made significant contributions to film and television, including Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again, Native Son, Mandela, and The Clerk, Bojangles, and Deacons for Defense, earning 2 NAACP Image Awards and other honors. And whereas Mr. Wesley's libretto for the Central Park Five, composed by Anthony Davis, received the 2020 Pulitzer Prize in Music, highlighting his national influence. And whereas he continues to serve the arts as an associate professor at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts and through leadership roles with the Newark Museum of Art, Black Film Festival, the Manhattan Theater Club, and the Center for Black Literature at Medgar's Evers College. And whereas Mr. Wesley's life and work have brought honor to the city of Newark and inspired generations of artists and storytellers. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Municipal Council of the City of Newark, New Jersey, that it expresses its gratitude and proudly honors and commends Richard Wesley for his extraordinary artistic contribution and his enduring commitment to cultural excellence. This commendation is presented by the Newark Municipal Council by President Lawrence Crump, South Fork Councilmember Patrick Council, Councilman at Large Luis A. Quintana, Councilman at Large Carlos M. Gonzalez, Councilman of the North Ward Aníbal Ramos Jr., Councilman of the West Ward Dupre L. Kelly, Councilwoman at Large Louise Scout Roundtree, and Councilman from the East Ward Michael J. Silva. We honor and commend you on all your accomplishments and continue to be a pillar of this great city of Newark. And this is to you, to commend you, Mr. Richard Wesley.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Thank you for all the consideration.
Come here, stay right here. Yes. Bless you.
Send this picture to my grandson. Thanks, Evan. Thank you. Thank you, Newark.
Yes. No, thank you.
As I mentioned, today would not be possible without the technical expertise of Andrew Frazier and Small Business Pro. I'd like to turn it over to you, Mr. Stern.
All right. Great. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today, and excited about having a great session. Just give me 1 sec. Let me just pull something up for you to share. Okay. Let's see. All right. So everybody online, just let me know if you can see the image. Okay. So DV Connector Network. And today we're excited to have Richard Wesley and just a little bit about the DV Connector. We do have an online community that's available where actually we've had these sessions for, I guess it's 3-4 years now. And we have all of them videotaped and available within the community. So if you'd like to see them, definitely feel free to tune in, and I'll put it in the chat, but it's www.dvconnectornetwork.com, and then you can get access to everything. So everyone's been amazing. So definitely there's a lot of great stuff there. Also on Saturday, December 6th. No, it says RH. It's our holiday potluck mixer.
Okay.
So if you're able to join us, definitely we had a great time last year just networking and getting to know each other. So definitely you're welcome to join us then as well. And then I just want to share a little bit about a couple of things that I have coming up, or something I have coming up that everybody's welcome to participate in. We're celebrating 5 years of the live stream that we do every week for business owners. Don's been a guest. Some other people in the room have been guests. And we're going to do it both live and we're going to stream it online. And definitely we're doing it live in Montclair, New Jersey at Sankofa Cafe on not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. And if I can just take a second and show you a little bit what it's all about. Hi, Andrew here, and I'm excited to celebrate 5 years of leadership, small business insights, and powerful conversations with more than 250 guest experts. Leadership Live at 8:05 is celebrating its 5th anniversary, and you're invited. Join us in person at Sankofa Cafe in Montclair, New Jersey, or online via YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitch on Tuesday, September 30th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We're also launching a brand new book, 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey, featuring wisdom from the incredible guests who have joined us on the podcast. In-person guests will receive a signed copy of the new book, meet and connect with guest experts featured in the book, and connect with like-minded entrepreneurs, business owners, and organizational leaders. 5 years behind us, the future ahead. Come celebrate, learn, and grow with us. I look forward to seeing you on September 30th. Space is limited for the special anniversary celebration, so don't wait. Click the button or scan the QR code to register at www.sbprou.com/5-years to secure your spot today.
Monday.com, the opposite of any work platform we tried in the past. We tried other work management platforms, not naming names. They all suck. Monday, total opposite. It didn't just work, it spread. And people became Monday evangelists. And you know why? Because people actually...
All right. Huh? Oh, okay. Just one more thing. And we have the book coming out. And actually, we have Dick Nichols, who's one of our experts in the book. So we're excited to have it. And I could just take 2 minutes. This is a little bit about the book. Hi, Andrew here, and I'm excited to announce the launch of our new book, 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey. 5 years, 33 incredible guests, hundreds of powerful business lessons, and now it's all in one place. Introducing 99 Proven Tips to Accelerate Your Masterpreneur Journey, a brand new book built from the insights, wisdom, and strategies shared by the guest experts of our podcast, Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Inside, you'll discover actionable tips on how to launch smarter.
So if you have an idea that you have researched and you know who your customer is and you think that you've got the experience you need, now is a perfect time to start a business. But remember, start as a side hustle first.
Grow faster.
So sales is about problem solving, not about manipulating. You have to understand the math of your business, the sales math.
Lead more effectively.
You shouldn't expect someone to be you. You have to understand and create processes to basically train people on how to handle certain situations and basically set people on the right path, right? So they can become successful within your organization.
And scale your business with confidence.
Bet on yourself and not be afraid to take risks and to know that you have within you the ability to accomplish your dreams and accomplish your goals.
Think like an entrepreneur. Now, I know there may be many entrepreneurs listening, but there may be some who aren't entrepreneurs. It's all well and good. I'm here to say entrepreneurship is not just something you do, it's a way that you think. And the characteristics of an entrepreneur's thinking are creativity, resourcefulness, courage, resilience, and passion.
This isn't theory, it's practical advice straight from entrepreneurs and thought leaders who have done it. 5 years of conversations, 33 voices of experience, and now 99 tips to accelerate your masterpreneur journey. Get your copy today. Pre-order now to reserve your signed copy. Click the button below or scan the QR code to order from www.sbprou.com/99-tips.
At this time, I would like to call up a noted recording artist, songwriter, actor, playwright, director, and record producer in his own right, Mr. Bill Stone Jr. He has enjoyed recording contracts with such labels as Solar Records and even the famed Stax Records in Memphis, where he recorded alongside such legends as Rufus Thomas, the Barkays, and Isaac Hayes. Bill's song and dance talents have been featured in theatrical productions, Curly Victorious and Pippin, among others. In 1981, he founded the Urban Stage Theater Company and has directed fundraisers featuring performances by Ozzie Davis, Ruby Dee, Savion Glover, Deborah Mitchell, Honey Coles, and many other theater luminaries. Bill has been encouraged by many in the entertainment and theater industry to revive his musical Lost in a Dream, and is currently hard at work rewriting some of the dialogue and composing new music and dance numbers, with plans to direct the show himself. At this time, I bring to you Bill Stone Jr.
Okay. See if I can follow
in the direction of many of you favorite president, go off script. I'm not even gonna mention the name, right? So I'm gonna say, get everybody out there. Good everybody out there. Everybody's good.
Yes, we are.
As was stated, my name is Bill Stone, and it's great honor and joy to stand before you as presenter who will introduce a man whose words, vision, and spirit have shaped our culture in unforgettable ways.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. We are gathered here not just to celebrate a career, but to celebrate a life of storytelling, truth telling. That's very important.
Yes, indeed.
Right? Truth telling and trailblazing. Richard Wesley has given us plays that move us, films that inspire us, and a legacy that lifts Newark, our nation, and beyond.
Come on now.
As the Spanish-speaking people understand El Mundo.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now.
Te quiero con duro me quiero. Now, I can run down his bio, and believe me, it's long, rich, and powerful. Let me start with it. Rich with his fame and getting paid. Hey, You know, Rich, we go way black. I mean, we go. Richard has always been this not only tall in stature, but really tall in mind and body. Richard, and I know a lot of you brothers and sisters out there probably knows what I'm talking about. You know, Rich never got the big head.
Yeah.
Because some people, when they get a little fame, a little recognition, a little extra money in their pocket, their heads go. Psh.
Come on now.
Try to get them through the door.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now.
Can't get them through the door for that head. That head got you going, you know. And put in mind, there's where's my brother Victor? My brother Victor, he tell me, back in the day, there was a young man I got to know. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He had a song and he went like, people sure act funny when they get a little money, yes they do, y'all.
Come on now.
People sure act funny when they get a little money, yes they do, y'all.
Come on now.
I remember the days when you lived in a hut, holes in your pants, showing your butt. Now you're living on Easy Street. You pass me by and you won't even speak. People should, y'all know that song. Y'all know the song. Remember all these things, and I can mention all kinds of superlatives, you know. Give me some superlatives to go live right. I like the States, right? You know, because the good things to say about people, and again, just to reiterate, and I won't be redundant with this, but Richard and I, we do go way back. I remember, you know, he still teaches and mentors people at Trish at NYU. And he's the kind of guy that I have dropped in on unannounced. And Mr. Wesley, Bill Stone is here. All of a sudden, here's Rich, unannounced. And there aren't too many people with his stature and everything that he has going on. And as so many, I don't even have to go through all the literary and writings and for his playwright, screenwriter, and all of that Rich has done, and he's still doing it. You know, this mind, and we're not talking about AI here. We're talking about
Come on now. Original.
yeah,
Original.
real mind going on here. And I won't be long because I know you would have questions. There'll be a Q&A about Rich, but my dear friend, Joshua and Judd, I call him Miss Mouth. She's a very, you get me wrong, this is one of the most studious women I've ever met.
Yes.
You know. Really, she's all that in a bag of chips.
Come on now. Come on now.
You know, she really is. She's a fantastic person, and she told me that it just maybe 3 years ago. She said, "Bill, you know, we first met at my mentor in Richard. You remember Philip Rose? Philip Rose, who was the first producer to bring an all-black show to Broadway, and we met at Philip's Memorial. Right? That's right. And I said to my wife, "This is my wife, right? This beautiful woman." Yeah. I have to say, I am one of the most blessed people in the world. I met this with this woman down in Maryland many years ago. And unbeknownst to me, that she was this renowned fashion person who not only dressed the Kennedys, but had customers as Prince, Walt Frazier, on and on and on and on and on. And so I was lucky, blessed enough, and God sent this woman to me, and I love you much. Yeah. There ain't a damn thing you can do about it.
Aw.
But at this time,
Good.
Joyce said, we have a few people here. That Joyce said, so she's going to introduce a dear friend of mine who's a poet, and then we're going to bring a very good friend of mine up with some music, with a lid, all of that. Come on up here, Joyce.
Yay.
Hello, everyone. How are you this morning? I think it's almost afternoon now, right?
Yes.
Good to see everyone again. We're so grateful for your presence, as you already know, as Bill said. Real quick and not too long. I think some of you were here the last time that I shared a few things. I just want to let you know that there's a number in the room tonight that I spoke about the last time. His name is Gary Edison. He's an actor. He's had a 40-year span plus career in the arts as one of the most prolific stage technicians and hands in management as known to this part of the Northeast. He's worked with NJ Pack. He's now currently with New Jersey Symphony Orchestra that snatched him up from NJ Pack. They had to have him. They went through all hoops and loops to get him there. So he's been there with them the last few years. Besides that, Gary is a prolific actor. He is not a poet, as we shared. He is actually an actor doing the works and life of Langston Hughes, as well as Dr. King. And he's been recognized with the state, Channel 13, and so on and so on. I'm the artistic media director for that blessing. And over 20-some years plus. So not to further ado, he's going to read a very creative, most beautiful works that was written by no other than Mr. Bill Stone in honor of my beloved friend and colleague from Black Film Festival, Mr. Richard Wesley.
Yeah.
Gary Edison, bring yourself forth.
Yay.
Mr. Wesley,
You're here.
I have to get my, excuse me, my 2 cents in regards to where do I know you from? Where do you know me from? And I start back thinking of my days at Crossroads, 1878, Temple Stage. And I said, wait a minute, I'm not sure, maybe through the late 80s. But then I remember a parade that some people may have been there with, a parade of success at Crossroads, marching from the old building, maybe a carpet warehouse, I think, Memorial Parkway to its new digs on Livingston Avenue. It was a parade. Wish you could have been there, but you ain't older than me. So you can. But I think meeting you and seeing you happened during the Talented 10. When you grace us, bring that to our stage. And my responsibility has just always been in Temple Stage is to help bring your work and others to life. So, I mean, what a great honor, what a great piece. I had to do some researching because my brain was trying to get back to 92 and 98. But, and I've seen you since. Our faces have crossed. Maybe not in the way I'm going to do it for you right now, but certainly, as we were talking on the circle of sphere for the arts. It's all of us. And remember, we stand on shoulders. Well, today we're standing on his shoulders. I need his shoulder in order to do what I need to do. So again, asked by Bill, not actually asked, he allowed me to do this. And he saw fitting to write a piece that was very fitting of Richard. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wesley wrote with laughter, sharp and bright, where Portier and Cosby lit the night. In uptown Saturday night, the humor shone, a joyful spark against the unknown. Then, let's do it again, carry that flame with Pryor's wit and playful game. Through Wesley's pen, the streets came alive. A celebration of courage, wit, and drive. Yet, he could also turn to the shadow, where tragedy lingered and voices grew. Native sun brought Langston's warning, a dream deferred, like a raisin in the sun with Oprah and Dylan, though truth denied. The story burned too heavy to outrun. And in the Central Park Five, his words proclaimed the weight of injustice raw and untamed. 5 boys accused, 5 lives ensnared. His stage became a call for truth declared. Richard Wesley, chronicler of our time, who framed our laughter, voiced our pain through comedy, tragedy, rhythm, and rhyme. His legacy endures. It will remain. Written by Bill Stone, folks. That was his words.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Come on, let's hear it.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Man has a voice, I tell you.
Mhm.
Met him some years ago when he read synopsis that I had written for a show. And man, you got the voice. Yeah, you got it, man. I love you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, sometime they said Richard did. Ooh, we gotta do it again. Sometime the rain. Well, I won't get into Mavis Staples, but my dear friend and this beautiful young lady that sitting beside him, Mr. Victor Niggle. I love you, brother.
Yes.
You beautiful lady.
Awesome.
They are going to do a piece that Richard wrote the screenplay for this particular piece that yeah, you need this.
Okay. All right, before we start, I just want to say thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be in your presence today and to share my love of music, our love of music with you all. Mr. Richard Wesley, I hope you enjoy this. And if you don't, it was all his idea. But you guys are more than welcome to dance along. The body little needs an eye. Dark to my heart is then will be alright when I go uptown. Uptown, that is uptown. Moving uptown Saturday night, yeah, little gospel from my spirit, giving me a light for my soul. didn't come from my trouble, then you never will grow. Uptown, Saturday night, Saturday night, Saturday night. As long as I can make it, gonna take enough to get me by. I keep trying to get lucky, that's how this smile will die. I'm on Saturday night. Saturday night, Saturday night, Saturday
Anytime you see another sign, this man is universal. Victor and I, we go way back, and he really is a very, very, very talented businessman. So and musician, and anytime that you see him appearing someplace, please make it your duty to catch him because he's just all that. Moving right along. Moving right along with Richard. Richard in 1978 played the Mighty Gents, told the story of gang members facing middle age, remembering who they were, who they once were. I can remember that, but can't go back that far. Well, Joanne, you know, Joanne told me the story. She said, oh no. She said, Bill, you know, I've been in love with the same man for 40 years. 40 years. She said, I don't know how to introduce him to my husband. But that's the way she rolls. In 1989, Rich gave us the Talented 10th. Yeah. A powerful reflection on Black success and identity and responsibility. That play won him, wait a minute now. Can you believe this? That play won him 6 Adolfo Awards. 6! 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Cinco, 6. Wait a minute, now I can speak in Spanish. No, but really, it won him 6, and that is something else that not too many people have the pleasure or the talent to come by. And Rich, yeah, you did that, and he still kept going on. In 2013, he teamed up with Trilogy, an opera company in Newark. Right. Absolutely. In Newark, right? Writing the libretto for Papa Doc. Then in 2016, he wrote 5 an opera about the Central Park Five, composed by, and I tried hard to get Anthony to be here. Anthony Davis, who went on to we used to say the Pulitzer Prize, but it's really, you got to break it down and say Pulitzer Prize for the music in 2020. That's an undertaking, but he's the brother that can really bring it to fruition. In 2015, after a long break from all-length plays, full-length plays, Richard returns with Autumn. Yeah. That was there at Crossroads, right, Gary? Yeah, the Crossroads with my buddy Rick Kahn. In fact, we found our theater companies about the same time. Both of us, we were in, I think he was at Mason Gross and I was in Newark, right here at Rutgers. And yeah, and that was Autumn. That was a well-written piece. He's written and co-writer with for the piece. Was this with Bob Johnson? With Robert Johnson, yes, with Robert Johnson for Bojangles.
Oh, Bojangles. Well, that was a television movie.
Yeah, the television piece.
Yeah, that was Gregory Hines.
Yeah, who was another very, very good friend of mine. Gregory and I, we went for way back in black. Yeah. And Rich, as many of you probably know, that he is at NYU with Trish. He's mentoring young minds there, and it's I could go on and on about you, my brother, because I love you, but I'm gonna sit because the old legs ain't what they used to be. But I think
I'm laughing because I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm right there with you, my friend. Yeah. You know, years ago I wrote a song called "Do It Upright." I'm gonna do it upright, gonna start out the night. Well, Rich does everything so right. Well, it's so close to right as he can. Is that he even married right? I mean, really, you know, he's married to author Valerie Wilson Wesley. Man, and brothers, you'd be remiss. I would be remiss if I would not point that out. And he also fathered two beautiful daughters, you know, lovely women. And you know, when you're in the business of fatherhood and husbandhood, wifehood.
Come on now with the hood.
Get in the hood. We know about the hood, don't we?
No, we don't.
Yeah, is that you know, it behooves us to really take a stand, especially as black men, African American men. You know, we've gone through so many things. We've been black, colored, everything, right down the line. Oh, my son is back there. I just have to give him his props because he's one of the best known African American. What are you? What are you? He's a character designer. Yeah, he's a character designer, and he's with all the major people like Warner Brothers and Sony and all those people. But look, his name is Coran Stone. So anytime you want check him out. He's there. He's worked with who's ever. But anyway, I just had to throw that out there. And I'm going to close with this. The day has been one of the most enjoyable days I've had in a long, long time because this man, you deserve it. And when Don, my buddy here, my dear buddy, Don, I said to Don, I said, you ever thought about doing Richard Wesley? And he said, yeah, but how do you get in touch with him? I said, well, let me get a guy a call and maybe we can put it together. And this is what materialized. And thank God for that. I love you. And y'all take care. Richard Wesley.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. First, let me say thank you to all of the wonderful talent and the musicians. Thank you for that song. I recorded it. I'm going to send a video to Sydney's widow. If you don't mind, to his family and everything. I think they would really appreciate that. Of course, I'm gonna save it for myself. And Bill, thank you. I'm coming back to you in some of my remarks. Everything to Don, thanks very much to everyone who has been involved in putting this morning and afternoon together. And some of the things that were said is the city of Newark, the city council of Newark for the proclamation. Thank you all very much for that. It's always I think I have across my life and career received a lot of accolades and everything and celebrations, and I'm very proud of all of that. But it's when it comes from your home.
Come on now. That part right there. That part right there.
Yeah, that kind of, it really hits you and leaves you at a loss for things to say. But there is one thing I would like to also mention in terms of thanks, and that is to express my appreciation for that little one who spoke.
Yes, indeed, Melody. Yes.
I'm sorry, what was her name?
Melody.
Melody.
Yeah.
I really truly appreciated that because it's a reminder for me that my life and my career and the things that I've dedicated myself to, and I think this goes for all of us. We're in the business of I shouldn't say business, but I'm in that industry, and that's the way we always talk. But part of what we do as adults is to be that pebble that falls into a pond and the water ripples out and affects the other pebbles in the pond and the life that is in that pond. As those ripples go out, courses are changed. The environment in many ways are changed. And when you can do it in a positive way, when you can make an impact in a positive way and create a path for those who are going to follow, that in the words of that old gospel song,
your living has not been in vain.
Come on now. That's right.
Melody reminded me of that when she was speaking here at this microphone.
Awesome.
In my honor. Okay. So thank you all. Thank you, Melody. I don't know if you're still here. Okay. I started out as a child. I was born and raised in Newark. I was born at the original St. Barnabas Hospital that used to be up near High Street or Martin Luther King Boulevard back in 1945.
Wow.
I went to Hawkins Street School, elementary school down there, because I grew up in the Ironbound. Went to the East Side High School. I would have gone to arts like my brother did, but I didn't have any talent in drawing, and I didn't have any talent playing a musical instrument. And Arts High School was not offering courses in those days in creative writing. You could take English while you were there, do regular history courses, things like that. But had Arts High School been offering courses in creative writing, I would have gone to Arts High School with my brother. But no, I went to East Side, had a good time, ran track, played some basketball, baseball, football, was in the band. And was in this club. It was an extracurricular club because I remember I wrote the script for our class movie, which never got made. That was, which was a preview of what my career was going to be like. Along there, in spite of the fact that I was the career that I ultimately chose, my primary ambition in those days was to be a naval aviator. I truly wanted to be a pilot, but in the Navy they don't call them pilots, it's aviators. Wanted to fly jets off of aircraft carriers. The idea of going from 0 to 100 miles an hour in 3 seconds flat really was appealing to me. I liked the idea of being able to go to distant places, and I had seen a movie about the Korean War when I was 8 years old at the Paramount Theater on Market Street in Newark. I don't think there's anyone here quite old enough to remember when the Paramount was actually a movie.
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Y'all know. They're right down to the Paramount Theater and see a film in the theater. For real. And at that theater, that's where I saw the movie that inspired me to want to become a naval aviator. Bridges at Tokery. I learned how to pronounce the name Brubaker because that was the name of the protagonist in the film. I became a lifelong fan of the actor William Holden because he was the pilot, the protagonist in that film. And I became interested in motion pictures because of that movie. The photography, how they got the images on screen, the planes flying, camera people actually going out on location onto the deck of an aircraft carrier, going through the process of launching the aircraft. All of that started. How did they do that? How did they make that happen? And then later on, when my big sister took my brother and me to back to the Paramount to see this science fiction movie, War of the Worlds. Not the one with Tom Cruise for you. It's the other one.
The original.
Yeah, the one that Steven Spielberg saw when he was a little boy that inspired him to make it. You know, that one. I wanted to know how that was made, you know, and just figuring out that and figuring out how stories were told and the life that I was living, you know, in the Ironbound. How could I turn when I would see movies like on TV, like the old Our Gang comedies, the kids, you know, Little Rascals and all that. Well, I was in a neighborhood full of little rascals. You know, so when, you know, could our lives be on screen like that? And how was that told? You know, and like most people, I thought that the actors were making up the lines of dialogue as they went along. I thought that the directors and the cinematographers were figuring out the pictures that were going to go on the screen as they went along. I had no idea then that there was someone who actually sat down and did what is in effect the architectural drawing of what the motion picture would be. I didn't know that then, but I started to learn that over time. Cut to my junior year at Eastside, a point in my life where I had already flunked algebra twice, which disabused me of any notion of ever being a naval aviator. The Navy wanted pilots who were basically engineers as majors in college. If you were an engineering major, Navy was really interested in you because engineers make good pilots. I was flunking algebra, had no interest in trigonometry. The idea of geometry was like, you know, 1 + 1 = 2, I could do that. 2 × 5 = 10, I could do that. Now put those in parentheses, you know, and all that other stuff. I couldn't do that. So I didn't want to be a firefighter, didn't want to be a police officer, didn't want to be necessarily want to be a lawyer. Perry Mason never interested me very much. Too much talking. I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to carry that big case going from house to house. Nope, didn't want to do that. Didn't want to be a truck driver. Didn't want to, you know, be a corporate magnate or anything like that. I wanted to fly, and if I couldn't fly, I had no idea what my life would turn into. My mother got tired of listening to my laments and reminded me of the fact that when I was a kid in grammar school, back there in those days at Hawkins Street, whenever my brother and I didn't have enough money to get comic books or go out and buy comic books, we would make up our own. We would take 8 by 10 pages like this, fold it. That's roughly the size of a 10-cent comic book back in the 1950s. And Leonard, my brother, who was very talented as an artist, would draw pictures that would tell stories. And I would write the words in the balloons above the images. And when I was looking for other things to do, I used to get my father's hats, which he did not appreciate. I think about this now. Dad may have loved his older son, but he did not appreciate some of the things he did with his clothes, which was I would get my father's hat and put it on, and then take a small piece of paper and write the word press on it and stick it in the hat band. Because that's what I always saw in the movies and saw in some of the newspaper comic strips. And then I would go around doing stories, headline, Dad comes home from work, mom boils potatoes, and stories like that. I would just write out headlines and write little 1 or 2 sentences. I have no idea what I wrote, but I wrote something because my mother remembered it and she told me about it. And she said, why don't you start thinking about being a journalist? You get A's in English, yeah. You like to write book reports, yeah, but all my friends think I'm crazy. I did. I love to do book reports. That's why I spent a ton of time. Used to love to go to the library, the Newark Public Library, and just sit in there and look at that microfiche machine and everything, and study old newspapers and things. I liked doing that. And when I was a junior and the Navy was fading away in my imagination, I settled on what I wanted to do with my life. I liked the Twilight Zone, which was just coming on the air in those days. I liked all those episodes. I liked the way in which those stories were being told. I wanted to write stories like those. I even sat down one time and wrote out an episode by hand in a notebook and did it as legibly as I possibly could, folded the papers up, put them in an envelope, and then had to spend a month figuring out where Rod Serling was so that I could send him that script. So I had to sit at do the episode, and at the end when the credits were running, there would always be this Cayuga Productions, CBS Television Network, Culver City, California. Wow. How you spell Cayuga? So I'd have to watch, I think that's 3 episodes, 3 weeks. I had to wait till Friday night or whatever it was, and wait until that came in so I could try to copy that, get it right. Because it wasn't the same spelling as the river, Cayuga River down in Pittsburgh, I think it is. It's a different kind of spelling. That was what kept throwing me off, because that spelling is not in the dictionary. So that's why I had to wait. But I got it all down. I put it in an envelope, sent that envelope, out in the mail, and waited for Rod Serling to write me back, tell me what a dynamite job I did. I'd be the youngest television writer in America. 17 years old, and I'd be working for Rod Serling, writing episodes for the Twilight Zone. I never heard. I think that script arrived in California and went straight into file 13. As soon as they opened it up, and said, he ain't got an agent. He didn't even type it. No, high school kid. But it didn't discourage me. What it did for me was remind me that I had taken the time to do it, that I had taken the time to make that step. I didn't dream about it. I didn't wish anything about it. I went out and did it. I wrote a script and sent it to somebody. to a television producer. Maybe the next time or the time after that, things might turn out a little bit better. So spring of my junior year, when people are talking about SATs, start thinking about what college you want to go to, all those kinds of things, I sat down and started going through that. There's a booklet that they give you or that comes with your SAT, at least back then, that listed all of the colleges and universities in the country. And I didn't know anything about any of them except, like Harvard had a reputation as the biggest and best in the country, possibly in the world. What did I know about Princeton? I knew that Princeton had a fantastic looking campus because I'd been on it. The track championships one year were held down at Palmer Stadium at Princeton. And so I was on the campus and had seen what it looked like and said, wow, I'd like to go here one day. And I think I had read some famous person had been a student at Princeton at one time, and I was impressed with that. But beyond that, I didn't really know anything about Princeton, but I put Princeton down as one of the colleges I wanted to go to. As I mentioned earlier, I was a track, athlete. And I knew that my coach thought I had enough talent that he would get in touch with one of his former high school classmates, who at that time was the track coach at Columbia, and he would tell him about me and maybe I could go there. And so I put Columbia down, reluctantly, because Columbia is in New York City. And New York City is just 12 miles from Newark. And Columbia sits on the edge of Harlem. And my mother came from a big family, and she had a brother, 2 sisters, and a couple of cousins in New York City. And who do you think she would tell them to keep an eye on? And so I didn't want to be someplace where I could be kept that much of an eye on. So I put Columbia down, but oh man, I wasn't even thinking about the grades at the time. Coach said that he thought I was good enough to go to Columbia. That was good enough for me. And I put down Notre Dame because it was famous. Every athlete in high school knows the name Notre Dame. Ohio State because it was famous, because every athlete in high school knows the name Ohio State. And when I looked up the schools themselves, they all had programs having to do with creative writing, especially writing for motion pictures and television, which I was really interested in. I definitely put down USC and UCLA precisely because of that reason. UCLA also because Jackie Robinson had gone to UCLA and was an All-America at UCLA. So it was kind of like in my head, hey, okay. And Arizona State was on that list because one of the athletes that I knew from another high school, Ben Hawkins, was a fellow congressman mine at Bethany Baptist Church, and we had gotten baptized together. And Ben was at Arizona State. I would go there, I could go there. At least there would be somebody that I knew there. And one of my favorite athletes who actually competed, I competed in the same area that he did, running what used to be known as the quarter mile. He was a world-class athlete at that school. So I put that one down. And I put down Howard University because my mother had an older sister who had graduated from there. And even though it meant I'd have to go to Washington, D.C., where there were more of her brothers and sisters, it was 200 miles from here. And they lived over there in Washington, and Howard was over here in Washington. Maybe, okay, I might be able to handle that. So I put Howard down. Every college and university, or most of them at the time, required a deposit when you sent back your application. And at that time, everyone wanted a $10 deposit. I had 10 universities listed that I wanted to attend.
Wow.
In those days, it was still possible for one parent to earn enough salary to take care of a family of 4. My father was working at the old Sherman-Williams paint factory down in Newark. He was earning about $125 a week, which at the time was the highest salary that workers in his division were getting. So he was earning $125 a week, and taking care of my big sister, my brother, and me, and my mother. And I now had a list of 10 schools, each one wanting a $10 deposit. And I knew, right then, like, wow. Okay. And it turned out that Howard University did not require a $10 deposit. So it was the only school that I applied to. I didn't send anything back to any of the other schools. And 3 months later, I got a letter from Howard saying, come on down.
Yeah.
That's how I got that. I took there was a preliminary test that at Arts High School that Howard had. They were trying to, they had a program there called remedial studies, or remedial English and remedial math. And that program existed because the university already knew that most of the students who were coming into the university were coming out of educational programs that were deficient in specific areas of education. A lot of Black kids were coming out of segregated schools in the South, or were coming out of under-resourced institutions in the North. So the remedial courses existed to bring students up to college level. And to find all of this out, they have you take these tests and everything. But because I wanted to be a writer and was going into English, I wound up not having to take remedial math. And I had good enough scores on the SATs and on this other series of tests I had taken at Eastside that had gotten me up over that. So I arrived at Howard, didn't have to take those remedial courses. You know, those things were hard. Those were, I came into a program, and Bill, this is where I'm coming back to you. Okay, because I think we met at Howard briefly.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Don't try to deny it. We didn't know each other well, but I think without taking up too much more time, because I do want to leave room open for Q&A and all of that. I would like for you to understand the atmosphere and the world that I came into. And Bill, when we arrived there in the fall of 1963. The first student I saw, I think the first day of orientation, or when I finally got up and all of that and got up on the main the area we call the Yard, was Stokely Carmichael, the civil rights activist and Black Power advocate. He was 2 years ahead of me. He was in his junior year. He was with a student from Southern University who had just like come up to DC in late August and was hanging out with Stokely. Phil Sellers, I think his name was. And they both were officers in the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. That previous summer, the two of them, along with several other people whose names kind of just drifted away, they'll come back to me later on, but they had all been involved in the voting rights struggle in Mississippi. They were registering sharecroppers and poor Black people who had been denied the right to vote. They were registering them to vote. Fannie Lou Hamer was very much involved in that, and later on she would be instrumental in the demonstrations at the 1964 Democratic Convention. So Stokely was there, and I remember him. He still had on his coveralls and these big combat boots, and I was trying to like, dude's in college. What's he doing wearing coveralls? Who he? You know, must be pledging or something. You know. But and and Bill, you probably thought the same thing since you were a freshman, didn't know any better anyway. But okay. But when Bill and I got there, one of the ways in which we became the people that we are today is because of the professors and the atmosphere that we came into on that campus. It wasn't just the political side, it was also this cultural side. Our classmates in that incoming class included the concert and opera singer Jesse Norman, Layla, some of the young people may know a popular singer named Layla Hathaway. Her father, Donnie, was our classmate. Okay. Some of you may be aware of a character actress named Hattie Winston, who later became one of the founding members of the Negro Ensemble Company. She was one of our classmates as well. They're not well known as performers, but inside the recording industry, these two guys are very well known as producers and what's called artists and repertoire executives, people who develop artists and oversee composition and recording sessions. Kenny and Fonce Mizell, they were part of our incoming class. And we were all sequestered in one building called, it's known today as the Chadwick Boseman College of Fine Arts, but back then it was just the College of Fine Arts. So we were all there in that building. Oh, and by the way, Layla Hathaway's mother was also in that class, Eulayla Van. She was in there. So we had these spaces where you were constantly being bombarded with talent and educational disciplines so that you could focus that talent, and spaces where you'd be able to exercise that talent. You were always being encouraged in it. Don, you had asked earlier about some of the people who might have acted as mentors to me. One of them was a man named Owen Dotson, who was the chairman of the Department of Drama at the school. I was ready to leave Howard within weeks after I arrived because I found out that what was happening on the ground was not quite the same as what was promised in the brochure. Because in the brochure, there was this whole section that was talking about writing for television and motion pictures. So that's why I went. But when I got there, I found out that there had been a reallocation of budget. Yeah, it wasn't quite a bamboozle. It was a bamboozle. There was a reallocation of budget. So, this money that we're going to spend on cameras and new professors and microphones and all that equipment, well, we're going to redirect that maybe across campus to the Department of English, where we need to get more faculty in, and we need this and we need that. And maybe some of that money is also going to go over to Founders Library because we need to expand some of the resources there. And, well, that made sense. But when you're 18 years old and you came to school to study this thing and they're not offering it, it's just like, I was bamboozled.
Right there. That is great.
Run them up. So I went to Professor Dodson. And I said that I was thinking about transferring at the end of the semester. I was, oh, why? Well, I came here because I wanted to be able to write for motion pictures, and all y'all are offering is the theater. Playwright, Professor Dodson. Now, I did not say this next part to him directly, but he must have heard it in my voice. So I was thinking, I don't want to be a playwright. Shakespeare? Stage? That's old fashioned. I don't want to do that. Yeah. I want to write motion pictures. I want to Ben-Hur. War of the Worlds. I don't do that big stuff. Ladies. I just said, well, Professor, I wanted to come here to write for the stage, for the screen, and I don't think the stage is for me. And Professor Dodson looked at me and leaned across his desk and right up in my face and said, young man, if I can teach you to write for the stage, you will be able to write for it.
Come on now.
And I said, okay. This man has conviction, and that's what he proceeded to do. He proceeded to prepare me to become a dramatist. I studied under him. I studied under another rising young playwright named Ted Shine, who was teaching there at the time. Later took over the theater program at Prairie View A&M, and really built that program up. And I started working on how to structure my stories, how to build up characters, how to work toward developing strong conflicts in the stories that I was telling and everything. I took a course in directing and for the stage, and went and found Donnie, because he had a room on the same floor that I did in Drew Hall. Like the building is shaped like a U, and I was in this part of the U, and Donnie was all the way over in the other wing. But I went over there and found Donnie and talked to him about doing some music for the play that I was going to direct. So here we are, my freshman year. Donnie was writing music for a play that I was directing.
Wow.
That was the first time that we had a chance to work together as students. And it's opened up other possibilities for me and made me aware of some other things. And then I had friends from Newark who were on campus then, very close to me. We were a close-knit group of guys, mostly guys, because in those days, the guys and the young women on campus had their own circles. We didn't really hang out that much, except we found ways. But that's not part of the story. We had our own.
When you're not going to tell.
Time and place. But those connections, as you can see, lasted far beyond our time as students there. And being in the music department or the art department or drama where I was, because you're in those areas, this is what your major is. This is what your pursuit in life is going to be. This is the profession that you want to follow. You start learning about the ins and outs of that profession very early on. You have to orientate yourself in a different kind of way than perhaps being just liberal arts major or an English major or a history major. You are in the profession from the day that you arrive on campus. In the drama department, that's how you're oriented. That's what you're learning. You're learning how to function as a professional right from the very beginning. You have to change your mindset. I am not simply a college student. I am a writer. I am an actor. I am a director. I am a designer. And everything that you're doing in that department in terms of what you're learning is about preparing you to function in the professional world after you graduate. So your mindset and your orientation and everything is already being set when you arrive as a freshman. The only students that I could think of who correlated to us in fine arts were the students in E&A, engineering and architecture. They were exactly the same as us. As soon as they arrived on campus, bam, you're an architect, you're an engineer. These are the schematics. Boom, you're working and you're thinking like someone who is functioning as a creative. So there was nothing, and there has been nothing that I have experienced in the professional arena that I didn't first experience when I was a student on the undergraduate level at Howard. The viciousness that actors would go to grab a role. I saw it up close when I was 18 and 19. All About Eve, that wasn't just a movie. That was a blueprint. Oh yeah. I knew some actresses who were classmates of mine who were definitely Eve. A few others who were Margot Channing. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night. I saw plenty of bumpy nights when I was a student at Howard. Everything. But it got me ready. When I came out of the university and made my way to New York, I had some incredible opportunities that were handed to me on a silver platter. As students, Owen Dodson he provided us with opportunities to meet up close some really important people. At the time, it was so overwhelming. I think sometimes we didn't really fully appreciate just what he did. He arranged for John Gielgud and Vivian Lee to come and visit us in the department while they were on tour with a play. And this was just maybe 8-9 months before Vivian Lee passed. But they came and sat down in a room not too much larger than this one, talking to us for 3 hours. Wow. Owen arranged for us to have a one-on-one with Sydney. Wow. At the time, I never expected to see Sidney Poitier ever again in my life. So many people gravitated toward him at the end of his conversation with us. I was standing on the periphery of the crowd. I remember all I did was I reached over someone's shoulder and touched his hand. You know, and then backed off. You know, I said, that's as close as I'm ever going to get. Wow, I could tell Mom I touched Sidney Poitier at the stage. Never expected to see him again. Owen introduced us to Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee, who were very, very close friends of his. And Ossie Davis said in one of those meetings, because he came to campus several times, but in one of those meetings, he said, if you're ever in New York, look me up and let me know you're in town, and we'll see if we can't point you in the right direction. So after I graduated, I saw an opportunity to catch up to him. He and Ruby Dee were doing an evening of selected readings, and the actress Hilda Sims, who was really famous, especially in Black circles, because of the work that she had done with the American Negro Theater years before, and she was Anna Lucasta in that famous Broadway production. She was in that reading, and there were several other people who I can't remember now, but I remember all of them like major figures. The guy who became the first Black president of Actors Equity, he was in O'Neill, Frederick O'Neill, he was one of the readers also. So get backstage. I said, remember me? Oh yeah. He sent me to meet a television executive who he knew very well. And we had a wonderful meeting. And the guy, talked about, maybe making a telephone call for me to get a job at Rockefeller Center in the mail room. Okay. Your reaction is very similar to the reaction that I had when he said those words. Right. Now, let me explain what he was really telling me. When you are thinking about moving up the ladder in the executive vein in the entertainment industry, when you want to someday become the vice president of network entertainment, when you want to become the president of the studio. One of the very first places you begin is the mail room. Richard Wesley, recent graduate of Howard University, dreamer of becoming writer extraordinaire, only heard mail room. Usher at Rockefeller Center. How do I explain that to my parents? How do I tell them that my first job out of college, because I could hear my father. If I wanted you to be in the mailroom at Rockefeller Center, I didn't need to send you down to Howard University. You could have got that job right out of high school. That's what I was hearing. And that was my attitude. So I remember I thanked him very, very, very much, because I knew not everybody was going to get an opportunity even to spend 5 minutes with this man. And he had already taken nearly half an hour talking to me because I was sent there by Ossie Davis. So that little part there, let's jump ahead maybe 15 years. Actually, more than that. I think it was maybe 20 years. I read his obituary in the newspaper. He had passed away. And I was reading about him and I remembered the name. But by that time, I had also learned about a number of other different executives in the industry whom I knew by reputation, if not personally, who had started in the mailroom. And I thought back to that meeting that I had with him, and the opportunity that I probably passed up. But there's another side to this. If you want to be an artist, if being a creative is the thing that is important to you, then getting on the executive track may not necessarily be the right place for you to be. As much as I may kick myself for not taking him up on his offer at the time, I realized that I wasn't 100% wrong, because I did not want to be an executive. See, because if you wanted to be an executive, you would have known what you were being offered at that moment. There is a North Star that you have inside of you. And there are times, especially now, young people, identify that North Star and do the things that are important that will allow you to keep your eye on that North Star, that will allow you to get to that place that you were trying to get to. I want to be the best musician that I can be. I want to be the best writer that I can be. Or I want to be the best executive that I can be. Everyone has that North Star. What are the things that you need to do? Who are the people you need to meet? What are the things that you need to learn that are going to get you in position to keep following that North Star so that you can achieve the goal that you're trying to achieve? I knew that my North Star was not going to put me in the corner office at the top of Rockefeller Center as president of NBC Network. And besides, who wants to be president of NBC Network now? So there was something that was pushing me in another direction. And ultimately, I found, my North Star later on that summer. Joined the theater company. And I had a full-time job out at Newark Airport working for United Airlines. You may think, whoa, what's that got to do with your North Star, Richard? Well, when you're working as a ticket agent for United Airlines, you meet people.
That's right.
And you see people in all kinds of circumstances with all kinds of personal things that they are bringing to that counter with them. I'm late for a flight. Why are you late for that flight? You start seeing it playing out in their attitude and their behavior. The writer in you is taking notes. You start taking in the atmospheres that are around you. You start becoming aware of what the stresses are for people who are working in high stress situations. And so the day will come when you know how to write that, when you know how to put that into a script. So working out at Newark Airport was balm for me. Oh, I saw a lot of things out there that eventually started to make their way into scripts. And it gave me a nice salary, certainly one that my parents were happy to see. Oh, okay, all right. Boy, doing all right. Every day, suit, tie, shirt, going to work. Making a little bit of money, coming home, putting it in the bank. My dad especially liked to see that part. And my father was like, oh, got you a bank account now. Okay, good. All right, I like that. All right. My mother was very proud of me and everything. And then this theater company came along and made me an offer. We'd like to hire you to take over this magazine we intend to publish. We want you to be the managing editor of it. Well, and we'll match your salary at United Airlines. My dad had passed by this time, so and my brother was in the Army. So I was the only son at home. And the reason why I wasn't drafted was because of those circumstances. I was the one who was responsible for taking care of my mother, holding the family together, blah, 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 blah. And I had a draft status that basically said that the Russians would have to land an army in the North Shore of Long Island before I would ever be called up. So you can imagine me going home, telling Mom I was going to leave United Airlines to go work for a community theater in Harlem. But they paying me the same money United's paying me. Mom said, yeah, but for how long? And at United Airlines, you have benefits. At theater company, there's no benefits. You better hope you don't even so much as get a hangnail ripped loose. You have to pay the medical bills yourself. But that's what I wanted to do. And my mother, I know she said 1,001 prayers. And she said, okay, all right. And I went and I joined the New Lafayette Theater Company, and I became the managing editor of their magazine. And I did that all the way up until the theater company shut down 3 years later. But at United Airlines, there was a massive layoff. The last year I was at United, we had an election where we could determine whether or not we wanted to be unionized. And there was a huge campaign from the front office and everything, basically to dissuade us from that. And so the majority of my colleagues, because I grew up in a union household, my dad was a union man. Union. From the time I was a little one, union, FD, union, boy, union, yes, sir, So I was union. I voted yes, union. Most of my colleagues voted no, union. And 3 years later, I'm reading the newspaper and they're all getting laid off. And some of the ones who didn't get laid off, they got transferred to other stations where some of the salaries were not quite as high. And United was going through some kind of financial thing. And this was early 70s, and the war in Vietnam was draining the economy and blah, 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 blah. And I was at the New Lafayette Theater. I was still working. And I was like, North Star. Come on now. North Star. While I was there, I was mentored to some degree, even though he would not, if he was alive now, he wouldn't use the word mentor. But he was something of a mentor, also like a big brother to me. Ed Bullens, playwright. He was very much like Owen and Ted had been for me at Howard. And he helped me further shape my writing and kept me focused. It was because of him that I met the off-Broadway producer, Joseph Papp. Papp wanted to work with Ed. Ed wanted to stay in Harlem with the New Lafayette, where he was the writer in residence and where he felt he had a real solid base. So he gave Joe a bunch of scripts from writers who he had been teaching in a writer's workshop. And one of those scripts was mine. It's a play called Black Terror, a political drama. And Joe read Black Terror and liked it enough that he wanted to put it into production. And that was the play that kind of really ignited my professional career. So from Joe Papp, I met the actor Anthony Quinn. Anthony Quinn was looking for a writer to punch up the dialogue in scenes that involved a Black man and Black woman in this movie that he was going to be a part of. I had written a romantic scene in my play, and he liked that scene and wanted me to bring that kind of energy to the scenes in the movie. So I'm having dinner. I think it was either the St. Regis or the Pierre Hotel in New York. I remember it was somewhere like Central Park South. And I'm sitting in this room with an afro out to here. Yeah, I had hair then. The afro out to here. I had a dashiki on, I had my mustache and my goatee and had these mutton chop sideburns and everything, and I had this big pendant around my neck. And I was ready. And Anthony Quinn is sitting there, and the guy who produced, who was Anthony Quinn's producer and the director were there, and they were all telling me about this, about this project. And I was listening and I was interested because it wasn't a bad script. It was really pretty good. It was the script that ultimately became a movie called Across 110th Street. And I thought maybe, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a movie writer and everything. And then Anthony Quinn said the magic words. Even though you're going to do this, if you do this picture, you're not going to get any credit. Remember that egotistical 22-year-old who didn't want to be in the mailroom? Remember that one? That one? I was telling you about that guy? Well, he reared his ugly head again. What do you mean, no credit? Oh, well, no, we just want to bring you in, just do a couple of these, do some punch-ups on these scenes here and everything. And, but that's not enough work really to merit, any kind of co-writing credit on the full screenplay. You mean I'm going to do all this work and I'm not going to get any credit? And, egos at work. I'm imagining myself telling my friends, hey, I did some rewrite work on Across 110th Street. And they all go like, yeah, right, Rich. Yeah, like, we don't see your name up there, bro. What's up? What's up? Why you bragging like that? Why are you telling that lie? And everything. Nobody will ever believe me. Now, and so I thanked Anthony Quinn profusely, as professionally as I possibly could, and I turned down that job. I said, no, I ain't gonna do it. Not gonna do it. I regretted that. I regretted that. Because I'm sitting there like, Anthony Quinn. That's Academy Award winning Anthony Quinn. That's Zorba himself. He's sitting right there. Like, I'm here. He was right here. Weeks later, this emerging young Broadway producer has an idea for a project. And he had he had gone to see my play, and he invited me to have lunch with him. And we were sitting at lunch, and after the small talk, we started talking about the main things. And he said, well, this idea I have is I want to do a Broadway version, all Black, with a brand new book of The Wizard of Oz. And I said, afro, dashiki, pendant around his neck, combat boots, having just finished reading Handbook of the Revolutionary by Kwame Nkrumah. No. What do I look like, man? Black writer. I just wrote Black Terror. I'm gonna come out here and do a Broadway play about the Wizard of Oz, Judy Garland, click, click, click. I want to go home. I want to go home. No. I ain't doing it. No. So I mean, that's inside, outside. I politely, professionally. Okay. By this time, not too long after this, I am a married man. And almost as soon as this ring was snugly fit on my finger, Valerie said, Richard, you can be a daddy. Anthony Quinn and Ken Harper, both, one on each shoulder, leaned over and whispered into my ear, "How you like me now?" Oh man, because you see, the New Lafayette Theater had shut down. And I did not have a clue what was going to happen next. Fortunately, Howard University, in their wisdom, taught us how to be teachers as well as artists. And I was offered a position as an adjunct professor at one of the colleges in New York. So kind of was, but adjunct is not the same as full-time. Okay, salary-wise, no, but it was something. But my soon-to-be oldest daughter was not going to wait. She was coming. Her arrival was imminent. And my thoughts had to be about how I was going to provide for my family. Val was not yet graduating from Columbia School of Journalism. Oh no, Bank Street. She was, at that time, she was on the way of getting a degree in teaching. So we were counting on something. Woody King Jr., a theater producer in New York, arranged for me to get a grant from the Rockefeller Foundation. I go off, or I'm about to go off on some other program that was going to introduce me to a whole wealth of other people who would help me. But this is the part of the story where I think you guys would be the most interested in, where I'm actually going to end so we can do this Q&A, so you can ask your own questions. I started off as a child. I gave up my dream of being a naval aviator. I went off to Howard University and learned to become a writer. I started writing. I turned down some incredible offers that certainly would have changed my life in 1,001 different ways. And you would think, man, you have just about exhausted your chances. But that North Star, still there. Not long after I wrote that political drama, Black Terror, play that I remain proud of to this day, I wanted to move in another direction because I didn't want people to just assume I could write only one thing. So I wrote a play that was a one-act play that only had two characters, man and a woman. And I set the play in Newark. Just about everything I write is always in Newark, even if Newark is never mentioned. And the play was called Getting It Together. And it opens by the lake in Weequahic Park. And the couple are expecting their first child. And it's about their relationship and how they're going to build that relationship and hold it together and everything. The director of the play was a friend of mine from the New Lafayette Theater, who later became an assistant producer in the production company that Sidney Poitier established. When it came time to cast the play, the young woman was played by a character actress named Beverly Todd. The name might not be familiar to you, but if you ever saw her, particularly how she looked back in those days, you would recognize her instantly. She had co-starred with Sydney in a couple of films. I think one of them was the movie Brother John, and there was another film. I can't remember the name of the other one, but there were two of them that she had co-starred with him in. So she was playing the young woman in the play. Then my director cast the leading man in the play, and he was an actor that I didn't want at first because I didn't think he really fit the mental image of the character that I had. And I said, no, this guy is fantastic. He's a great actor. And so I said, okay, because I really learned to trust this director's judgment and everything. And that actor was Morgan Freeman. I mean, he wasn't Morgan Freeman then, but like today he's Morgan Freeman. Back then he was like, yo, Morgan, what's up? And they did the play and they did a wonderful job. I mean, Morgan, I saw, I can't say enough about it. And Beverly was just luminous. And one night, the night that I was not at the production, because I usually, in those days, I used to go to almost every performance. But this particular night, by this time, Tembi, my oldest daughter, had already been born. And I just loved being around my little one and everything. I would pick her up and carry her all around the house and stuff and everything and all that kind of stuff. And so I was home. Play was running. It was middle of the week. They got it. They got that. That's cool. Me and Val just chilled out with our daughter and everything. That was the night that Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte decided to come and see the play.
Oh no.
Sidney was coming because Beverly Todd had invited him. And I found out about it later on. Of course, I was like, man, but I didn't think much. You remember me, I leaned over and touched his hand. So, okay, well, okay. Maybe I'll see him again one day. Who knows? Year later, play is closed, thing is over. I get a telephone call from my agent, Whitman Mayo, who you guys know as an actor who played Grady on Sanford and Son. He was my agent at the time. He was telling me that Sidney Poitier had called and wanted to meet me and wanted to talk to me about a project. And Sidney was based in New York at the time and gave me the address up near Lincoln Center. And I went up to meet Sidney Poitier. Sidney was late. I mean, not like late. I mean, he was like, if I was about 10 minutes early, Sidney was 5 minutes late getting there. Something had delayed him. And I remember he came rushing in, and I think all of you have seen a Sidney Poitier movie at some point in your lives and everything. Sidney in person is almost exactly the way he is on screen. Awesome. That particular day, one of the things that always impressed me about Sidney is his grace of movement and his athleticism. You can tell this some point in his life he was something of an athlete, just the way he moves, the way he handles himself. Because he was running, he knew he was running late, and he knew I was there waiting, and he was embarrassed about that, and he didn't want me to be kept waiting too long. I was the secretary had allowed me to sit in his office. So I was sitting on a sofa facing his desk, and the door is right here. And the outer office is back that way. I heard him come in before I ever saw him. And I guess the secretary said he's inside or something. And Sydney came in, and again, those of you know Sydney, Sydney is very formal. And whenever he is out in a public way or business way, Sydney always wears a suit. He wears a shirt. He may not wear a tie. He doesn't always do that. Where he would wear would he have a suit jacket, matching slacks, and always Brooks Brothers, something like that, and always kind of elegant and everything. Sydney came through that door, one motion, and I'm not even going to try to imitate it, but just to give you a sense, he came through the door, took off the jacket, slung it over his shoulder, came around his desk, took the jacket off and put it across the back of the chair and sat down and faced me in one motion. I don't know how he did it. Through the door. First words were, well. That's what he said. Well. Then he got a good look at me, and in my mind's eye, in my memory, he asked the question, where's your dad? But I think what he actually said was, I thought you would be older. I was 26, going on 27 at the time. And back in those days, I had a majorly baby face. And so he was expecting an older, more mature, kind of settled writer. Instead, he got this pimple face in the front of him. So we had a laugh about that. He laid out the project that he was thinking of, this comedy, he wanted to get all these top Black comedians in it, and he was going to direct it, he wasn't going to be in it, and he knew that he wanted a movie that would have a lot of action. What did he say? I have an idea. I know that I want the character to win a lottery ticket, and then he must lose it, and then he must get it back. Do you think you can do anything with that? And I thought to myself, wow. But mind you, Anthony Quinn, Ken Harper, let's see how you mess this up. And so when he said to me, "Did you think you can do anything with that?" I said, yeah, I think so. Yes. And he said, fine. I have to go away for a little while. 2 weeks, perhaps. Do you think you can have something for me to read by the time that I return? And I said, I think so, yes. Good then. I will be gone, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Good luck to you. He also said, if you like it, we will move ahead with a script. If I don't like the idea, then perhaps there will be something else we can do together down the line. I said, of course. Then he said, okay. Then that was when he said the good luck. And we shook hands, and I left the office, took the elevator downstairs, stepped out into the bright sunlight of Broadway, and thought to myself, I haven't a clue. I don't know what I'm going to do. This is crazy. I had a chance to, I had a chance to work with, wait. I had 2 weeks. I did not come up with the final idea until more than a week and a half had passed. I had to spend that last weekend before I was supposed to meet with him, putting the piece together. It was a friend of mine, another actor from the New Lafayette, who gave me the kernel that I needed, the seed that I needed to grow that story. And he was the one, in a conversation, he told the story of a robbery that I knew something about because I'd seen it, a newspaper article about it a couple of years before. The night that Muhammad Ali fought Jerry Quarry, after he made his comeback, after the Supreme Court allowed him to fight again. And it was in Atlanta. And all these Black gangsters had gathered. I call them gangsters, but they're players, hustlers, and pimps. They were all numbers runners. They were all together, and they had their own party. And some guys broke in and robbed them all. It turned out that the actor who was telling this story to me knew somebody who knew somebody who knew them.
Come on now.
And these robbers were from Harlem. And they made the mistake, ultimately, of bragging about what they did. Not too long after that, none of them were ever seen again. But when I heard the story, thank you. That's right, Dan. Bam! I knew it. I knew it. I said, I got it. And Newark came back into play.
Come on now.
When I was growing up, I used to hear about these after-hours parties in Newark. There was a bar on, I want to say it was 13th Avenue, but I don't remember exactly. But there was a bar that was called The Drag on Inn, INN. The Drag on Inn. And I don't care what time of the day it was, what time of the night, because there were a few late nights when I was a teenager. I was out where I wasn't supposed to be. That place was always closed, except there was one little light that was always just kind of shining through the window. And the place just gave off the vibe. There's something going on in here. There's something happening in here, but if you ain't in, you ain't getting in. You understand what I'm saying? So that place was in my head. And I knew about after hours. And there was a place up off Clinton Avenue that was known as a great after hours spot. When all the bars closed down, people knew exactly where to go. Okay. So I thought about my father and my uncle, my father's younger brother. The two of them were thick as thieves. They always stayed together and everything. So I said, two characters. this is a story about somebody who is someplace where they weren't supposed to be. They thought they were being slick and something happened. That's how the car gets stolen. So I wrote the whole thing out.
Come on now.
Just got the whole thing together. I just figured it out, you know. And took it back to Sydney. Sydney liked it. And next thing I knew, I was hired to write Uptown Saturday Night.
Come on now.
And my life just took off
Yeah.
from there. Sydney loved the script. But had it not been for casting Beverly Todd in that role, Sydney would not have seen that play.
Wow.
And as I found out later on, Sydney was impressed enough with the play to ask Beverly, well, who's that writer? Who is this guy? And so she told him about me. At the time, Sydney had other things he was doing. And so I went in the file that he keeps in the back of his head somewhere. He was overseas in Europe, in London, doing something over there. I want to say it was A Warm December. It may have been, I'm not sure, that film, A Warm December. It may have been while he was producing that, but the international edition of the old Herald Tribune newspaper ran a review of another play that I had written. And there was my name up there, and it clicked.
Awesome.
This is the guy that wrote the play that Beverly was in that I asked about. Okay, he must be good, because he's in the news again. So when Sydney came back to New York, he had his secretary track me down. And that just changed the trajectory of everything that I was about after that. I am going to stop there because I talked longer than I planned to.
Beautiful story.
And I did want to get some of at least answer a couple of questions. And I know some of the viewers on Zoom. Hi, y'all.
Hi, how are you?
I wanted to be able to let everybody ask a few questions and everything. Maybe the rest of my biography can kind of slip in with that as well.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and your graciousness. We would like to invite a few people, if you have questions, to come up to the microphone. Oh, okay. I believe some people on Zoom have questions.
Yeah. I'm sure in the chat down there. See it.
But you can unmute and ask your question too, if you're on Zoom.
Oh, really? I'll be able to hear.
Yeah. Anyone on Zoom, can you unmute and ask your questions, please?
She's muted.
So Melissa says, very powerful, and what was her comment?
There we go.
Hello.
Okay, there you are.
Hi, this is Melissa.
Hello, Melissa.
I didn't have any questions for you, but I just wanted to thank you so much for your time and your powerful story. And, you've inspired me so much to, just keep trying. You're such a beautiful person. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi. Hello. Hi. I'm Doreen. Thank you for being here. I'm curious about what it is you're reading today, how much you read, and how prolific you are to turn stories around, how much time is involved in all that. And I should say, as an adjunct professor once at Howard University, HU, I think it was a great choice.
Yeah, we got a game against Hampton today, that other HU.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. It was fascinating to hear your story.
Well, you're welcome. I generally tend to read books about history. A little bit more. I'm more in the area of nonfiction than I am likely to read fiction, and that's on me. Val fusses at me about that a lot. Novels. If I'm likely to read a novel, it's usually if I've been asked to adapt something. I'm currently working on actually on an oratorio now. It's not a screenplay or a play. It's a libretto for music, and it's based on a book that was written by a scholar who was doing some research on sundown towns. And I'm also working on an original play of my own. And some people have been talking to me about a screenplay, but we'll see about that one.
Do it.
But I guess as a writer, it's just whatever really appeals to me at a particular time. Something that I'm really very, very much interested in, and it strikes a chord inside of me.
Anyone else on Zoom or as we call it, the virtual living room, going once? Going twice? Any more questions? Yes. And Zoom. We got a line to. Okay, seeing none else. Okay, the first person who has a question in the room. Right there. Microphone behind you.
Right there, Mel. You can use that.
What advice do you have for me as someone who wants to become go into like the arts and is into the arts and wants to become an actor?
You want to become an actor?
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to any acting workshops?
Yeah.
You are? All right. First, learn everything that you can about the craft of acting. Okay. And then the second thing is go to auditions and never be discouraged or afraid to hear the word no. Okay. All right. And work with or try to work. You'll probably have to, at your age, you'll probably have to depend on your parents a lot about this, but try to work with other artists who are going to challenge you in some way. You as a developing artist, as someone who is growing into the work, you don't always want to be in a situation where you're always the best. You want to be in situations where you are striving to be the best, because the people who are there with you are just a little bit better. That situation will allow you to concentrate on doing the things that will make you better. How do I project my voice more strongly? That means learning how to take care of your voice, take care of the instrument. Good actors on stage, their voice begins down here and then comes out this way. So that's something that you can learn. And learn this thing called nuance. I think they okay, but I think they only want one question at a time. She ready for it? Y'all can reach out. That's okay, Melody. That's all right. You're gonna be okay.
She is, definitely.
I was born by the river
Say it. Yep.
in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. And it's been a long time coming. But I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. My name is Tamika Darton Thomas. I am Newark's baby, Miss Tamika, and I just wanted to thank you for how you have represented Newark throughout the years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you seems like an understatement for what you just did for us in here. From the eldest to the youngest, you just gave us a whole education Saturday lesson on life, history, the industry, and just being good people. So I want to give you your flowers while you can smell them now, to know that you have done your thing and represented the city of Newark in a miraculous way. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This has really been enlightening. Do you have a book that's out, or are you writing a book? Or?
Yes, there's a book. I know it's on Amazon. It's not in all the bookstores, but you could probably order it through a bookstore. It's called From Harlem to Hollywood. Sorry, that's the subtitle. The title is called It's Always Loud in the Balcony.
And just one other question, and I don't want this to be a big question, but how do you perceive the state of theater in our communities today versus when you were coming along?
Well, it's always been a struggle, and it's going to continue to be a struggle. But I think that the thing that I take heart from the most is the fact that the theaters are still there. There aren't as many as there might have been some time ago. Hey, Clarence, I hear you. The Billie Holiday Theater and the National Black Theater in New York are celebrating their 52nd year. The Penumbra Theater in out in the Midwest in Minneapolis is in its 50th year. The Inner City Cultural Center in Los Angeles is also in its 50th or 55th year. So there are institutions around the country that have managed to stay and make themselves a permanent part of the communities in which they've grown. And I think we should take heart from that and learn from the people who are running those theaters. And yeah, I wish it was 350 theaters the way it was when I started myself in the late 60s. But there are today over 100 still functioning. So that's what I take heart from.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hi, Sonny.
I was just wondering your opinion, with all of the streamers, cable companies, the movie theaters, what do you think is the climate for screenwriters now? Because you have all these different things going on, and the world has changed.
Yes, it has changed a great deal. When I began, I thought of myself, exclusively as a writer. But I think in the current climate, it is better for writers to have a second skill set, and in some cases even a second and third skill set. I think writers need to know directing, and I think they also need to know something about producing. I think that the new technologies, with all these new delivery platforms that have grown out of them, have changed the landscape in this sense. When I began my career, if you wanted to be an independent filmmaker, you had to get the equipment. A huge part of your budget was going to be expense of the film stock itself. Even if it was 8mm or 16mm film, that's expensive, comparatively speaking. Now, all you need is a smartphone. Put it on a tripod, and get a group of actors, and you can make a movie. It's sort of like the new technology has created a situation that, in my mind anyway, is not that dissimilar to the very, very, very beginning of silent movies, when everybody was trying to get out there and make a movie. That's what people are doing now. And even even this TikTok, and it's changing. It's changed all the rules. I have a 20-year-old grandson, a 19-year-old grandson. I've got a 14-year-old grandson and a 4-year-old grandson. I've got nephews, grandnephews now who are in a similar age range, and none of them watch television. They do not watch, broadcast television at all. They don't even watch sports on TV. And these are all, they're all little football players and basketball. They don't watch NBA and NFL and all that on television. They watch it on YouTube. And they only watch the highlights. And most of the other time, if you ask them who's the leading cast of one of the network shows, they couldn't tell you, but they can tell you who that kid is, who's 18 years old, who's on his way to becoming a college basketball star, who lives in Merced, California, and it can do a 360 dunk from the leaping from the foul line, because they see him. That kid is a star on YouTube. And that generation is the generation that that little girl who's Melody, who was just here. Melody's going to be writing and acting for them. And that kind of world is a world where, if you have an idea for a story, you can put together a team and produce it, write it, produce it, direct it, and have it up on one of those channels. Especially if you can do like 3 to 5 to 7 to 8 minute increments, you can have it up on a channel, and you don't have to go to all these other gatekeepers that have been out here forever. It's reorienting ourselves.
Richard Wesley is Clarence Ali.
No, Greg, what's up?
Close, Gary.
Gary.
No, that's okay, but Mr. Wesley, I'm sitting here. You must have spoken for about an hour.
Lord,
I wasn't timing it. I wasn't timing it, but to be told, in telling the story of your personal experience in life, starting from your childhood, starting through your experience in high school, starting through college, the people that you met along the way, especially in college, the force of those energies, young like you were, and then going on to the experience of making a poor and then the right decision in your life. I felt, though, that for my time in the arts and entertainment, that I'm not done learning.
No, you never finish.
Not done growing.
No.
And what you share with a little person, you shared with me, because I have to continue to grow as an artist. We're all creative. We're all creators.
Yeah.
Behind the room. But the way you shared it I thought I was getting my personal education. And well,
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Before I leave, I just wanted to get your autograph.
Okay.
Aww.
Absolutely.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
All right.
Wait, stay right there. Hold on. I want to get that photo. Get that Melody. Get back to real quick.
I look forward to the day when a little girl comes up to you and asks you for your autograph.
Yeah. Awesome.
And oh.
Awesome. Oh, we good. We got you. He starts happy.
Hey, how are you?
Yes, sir.
I'm Bill Stone's son.
Oh.
No kidding.
No, I wanted to ask you, have you ever thought about the genre of animation and writing for animation?
No one's ever asked. No, I hadn't thought about it, concretely. I'm so used to being a dramatist in terms of live action. I hadn't really thought about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you got a proposal.
Maybe. And also, one last question: what's your favorite episode of Twilight Zone?
Oh, wow. I have two.
Okay.
One is called Time Enough at Last.
Burgess Meredith.
The other one is the one with Agnes Moorehead, playing the hermit whose house gets invaded by the little men.
They're from Earth, Earthling.
Yeah, Earthling, something like that.
She was a giant. Great episodes.
Classic. I just wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts about the imagery that's being portrayed of Black family, Black males, Black females, and some of the films that's coming out now, as well as the series, the Raising Kings, which I'm fans of all of these shows, but what do you think about that kind of imagery and power, some of the images that they show of us in today's time versus because there's so many different imageries that they show, maybe in Friends, men, just so many different images of us on there. Just wanted to get your thoughts on something like that.
I understand.
Well,
that was it right there.
I haven't watched. I don't think I've watched anything in its entirety along those lines in quite a while, in a year. I'll be honest. I lost interest in Power Book, Raising Kanan. I know I should be watching Shy, and I haven't watched The Shy. I know there's I've noticed a lot of back and forth on the internet about Beauty in Black, and a number of other shows. I just haven't watched them, and I think, in a way, because I know where your question is going, and I think that's part of the problem for me. I think I haven't really seen a show that has fired my imagination since Underground. See, so we're going to Underground. What's on? Yeah, that was the last show that just really, like, oh wow, they're talking about something really serious. you know, I mean, you know,
That is an answer, sir.
you know, yeah,
There you go. Can you dig it? We dig it.
yeah, there you go, there you go.
We dig it on the
There you
side.
go.
Richard, have you seen Sinners?
I've seen Sinners, yes, yeah, but see, that's a movie though, that's a little bit different, but I've seen Sinners, yes, yes. Yes, okay. Yes, ma'am.
1 second, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Andrew has a
Just
video.
I have a short video for you, from Clarence.
Oh, Clarence, okay.
Because, yeah, Clarence, unless you're free to unmute, I think you got, okay.
No, Andrew, go ahead with the video. I got to get back to this meeting.
Okay.
I regret not being able to be there for this glorious and much overdue occasion, honoring you for the multitude of contributions that you unselfishly have made to the arts community and Black arts community and Black theater community in general, but specifically to the arts community in Newark, New Jersey. We met, I believe, right after you premiered Uptown Saturday Night. And we've been friends and doing projects together ever since.
Yes, I
don't know if people realize just how much a part of the arts community you have been over the years. Going back to your days at the New Lafayette with Art Bullens, to even being one of the first participants when the country of Nigeria had a Black Arts Festival bringing African artists and artists from throughout the diaspora to Nigeria back in the 70s. Who was there? Richard Wesley. When we needed support at TUI, I wanted to bring more cultural and artistic minded people onto the board. And I asked you to serve on the board, and unselfishly again, you agreed to do that, and brought not only your wealth of talent and experience, but we also did a couple of your plays, most mentionably Mighty Gents, The Sirens. We even did Sirens on the main stage of Symphony Hall. I believe you mentioned that that was the first time you saw your name above the title on a credit, on a marquee. And as a native son of Newark, you've done so much to encourage and support all of those who are in the arts, from even going back to that same mention of the Sirens. Before there was the active film movement in Newark that we have today, you were attempting to do a film version of the Sirens to be filmed in Newark, probably the first film of that nature to be shot in Newark. So you've always been in the forefront of what's going on in the arts. When the CBS network was still just a network, not a streaming service, they wanted to create, and this is the early days of cable TV, CBS wanted to create a cable TV network. Who did they call upon, which was going to be focused on cultural activity? Called on Richard Wesley. I believe they did a couple of your plays when that network was still active. But you've been there for Symphony Hall, on the Symphony Hall board, when many of us were getting tired, not having the energy to participate in the Black Film Festival, the Newark Black Film Festival. Who stepped up to take the lead? Richard Wesley. You've been a friend and a contributor for so long that I could probably speak for the next hour or two and still not do justice to all that you've done to support and encourage and build upon the life and vitality in the city of Newark. Even when Sharp James first became mayor, he wanted to bring a more cultural focus to the city. And who did he call upon? Richard Wesley to be on that panel. So this is much overdue, much deserved. And I hope you enjoy this day and everyone gives you the full recognition of everything that you have done, that you're continuing to do. And I could go on and on about what you did for TUI. Even in those days.
Thank you, Clarence.
Okay.
I was Clarence Ali, founder of Theater Universal Images, and I think he also was one of the co-founders of Connection Cable here in Newark.
Yeah. And very.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wesley, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for pouring into us and thank you for pouring into our community. And my question to you is, well, one, my homework tonight is to watch Uptown Saturday Night. That as we watch this movie, but as we leave this room, my question to you is there any practical exercise we can do to tap into our imagination and our creativity the way that you are able to, so we can continue to build that muscle?
Writing exercises. Think about this then. Invariably, someone is going to come to you and ask you what your story is about. Okay? They're not asking you what happens in the story. They're asking you what the story means. Okay, so that's a theme. And if you had to write the theme out, the theme of your story out in one sentence, can you get 3 things into that one sentence or 2? Maybe my 2 sentences. Actually, maybe 3. 3 sentences. The first sentence tells us who the story is about. The second sentence is the essential conflict in the story. The third sentence is the end, the denouement, the end of the story. Okay, so character, conflict, resolution of the story.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for coming. To close us out, we're going to bring forward lifelong Newark resident and former member of the Board of Trustees here at Pillar College, Della Moses Walker.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll get close.
Della's funny. Pull it down, Della, pull it down.
Good afternoon, everyone. And Mr. Wesley, what a pleasure to be here. He mentioned growing up in Newark.
Yes.
As I did, and not going to arts high. I did. I didn't major in art. I majored in music, string bass.
Okay, see?
I want to tell you, and everyone here and online, that part of your recognition came from, or comes from, under the direction of Dr. Marion Bolden.
Marion!
Yes.
Yes, I know Marion.
You know Marion. And Marion formed a group, Newark Public Schools Historical Preservation Committee.
Okay.
And the committee published some books. And you were honored as a distinguished alumni in their volume 1 as a graduate of East Side High School class of 1963. Yes. Also.
Yeah, East Side roll like that.
I've been tasked to give announcements.
Okay.
And the announcements are, I want to thank Mr. Wesley
And of course, we have to thank Mrs. Wesley. I encourage everyone to go online and look up Valerie Wilson Wesley. She wrote the Black alphabets of Black heroes and a lot of mysteries that you would be interested in. We want to thank everyone on the Zoom virtual living room. That's a technical thing that we have going on here. And everyone, especially all of the people, the room is full of people. We want to thank everyone who attended today, right here in the room. We want to thank Pillar College under the direction of the college president, David Schroeder, and also our hostess, Miss Trina Stokes, who's always involved in here. Our Zoom host and technical coordinator, Andrew Frazier, Mr. and Mrs. Nakia and Corey Wilson for their generous contribution of refreshments for the event. Bill Stone, who introduced Mr. Wesley, and our DV, our Divine Connection Network team. Kaylin Dines, David Thomas, Doreen Bethia, Chanel Scholars, Nakia Wilson, Corey Wilson, and little Miss Melanie. And we'd like to thank our musicians, Victor Nicholas and Aaliyah Damalanta. We want to remind you of the DVCN, Divine Connection Network, Potluck Holiday Mix-Up, which is probably a little or a big smorgasbord, a variety of hot and cold food, and a variety of warm and intelligent people, an event where you can meet and eat. And it will be held on Saturday, the first Saturday in December, December 6th at 11 a.m. And that will be here. Okay, Mr. Don Biber says it will be here. So to recap, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
We really appreciate all the talk and especially the information about finding your North Star, to stay focused and do everything necessary to get to the place where you want to be. And with that, I'll close and say thank you for coming. We wish you traveling mercies, Godspeed, and may the divine above just continue to bless you, give you good health and peace. Yes. Amen. Okay. And that's only everybody watch Deacon for this. They never talk about that movie. That's what about.
Yeah, I need.